I, 33 female, lost my husband Jim 13 months ago when he was just 34. Jim and I had been married for 7 years, and we were raising 4 children together before his passing. Jim's son, Kyle Tween, was the oldest child from his relationship with another woman. Kyle's mom was not in his life. She had been at times, but was unreliable and didn't show up to parent Kyle. She'd show up sometimes to remind Jim that she still had rights. Kyle's maternal side of the family had very sporadic involvement that lessened over time and after many arguments with us. They didn't like that I was the primary caregiver while Jim worked. At times, they did their best to alienate Kyle from me. They would tell him that I was not his real mom, or I was out to take them away from him. It created problems, and we ended up in court after Jim told them no more contact. At that point, they were given access to Kyle once every 2 months and would often take it, but not every time. After Jim died, Kyle's maternal grandparents sued for custody. A guardian ad litem was brought into the case, and Kyle told the guardian he wanted to be with his real family, who he considered to be his maternal grandparents. He told the guardian he was tired of me taking him away from people he was meant to be with. That paired with a clean home and more money than I had went in the grandparents' favor, and they were awarded custody. My husband's parents were extremely unhappy about this, and when it soon became clear that the grandparents would not allow any contact between Kyle and his siblings, it was even more clear that my husband's parents felt that I should have done or should be doing more. They made some comments occasionally, and I asked them to please not. I told them we were grieving enough without them turning on me. They asked me if I ever really loved Kyle and how I could let him go. The truth is, I do love Kyle, and I always have. I would have loved to be his mom and always saw him as my first child. If he showed up tomorrow and wanted to stay, I would let him. I even sent him to his grandparents with a few of his dad's things, but he was messed around so much by people, and I know the trouble from his maternal family caused a trauma that damaged our bond. And I know he's struggling with loyalty issues. Letting him go might be the only way to save him from more. And it's the only way I can continue to look after my 3 biological children who have lost their dad. On Saturday, my husband's parents were over to spend time with the kids, and they told me Jim would be so ashamed of me for letting Kyle go. I don't know why this set me over the edge, but it did. I lost my temper in front of the kids, and I told them Jim would be more understanding than they had been, and he would have never wanted them to treat me with such cruel disregard. I then made them leave. They were furious with me for speaking to them that way in front of the kids. Am I the idiot? Wow, it's okay for them to criticize you in front of the kids, but inappropriate for you to respond? How convenient. You are not the idiot. If Kyle told the judge he wanted to go, then there would have been nothing you could have done to change that outcome. Grieving people can be such idiots sometimes. It's unbelievable. How could you let him go? Because keeping him hidden in the attic would have been illegal. And there were no words for Kyle's maternal grandparents either, like they can eat rocks. Jim's parents possibly think that they're helping with their insensitive comments. Indeed, they're grieving the loss of their son, and probably they have misplaced anger toward you, but they're behaving wildly inappropriately, given the situation. Do they think it's so easy being a young, recently widowed mom of 3 young kids? And you're supposed to fight the maternal side of the eldest son's family too? I really wish Jim's parents were providing you a whole lot more support and a whole lot less judgment and grief. Maybe you can talk with them at some point about what you need from them, and maybe you can't. But you're definitely not the idiot here, and I hope things get better for you. My 32 female little brother, Owen, 28, and his fiancée, Ellie, 25 female, are not speaking to me and are on the verge of uninviting me to their upcoming wedding in August. This happened all the way back in December, but Ellie still holds a grudge and has brainwashed Owen from talking to me and other members of our family. He's also become super distant since their relationship began. It's about 9:30 p.m. on Christmas. My nephews were crying and unruly. My mom was getting flustered with the endless cooking. People were getting intoxicated and being loud. and my husband was extremely intoxicated and getting on my last nerve with his attitude and jealousy. I was just at my wit's end. Ellie comes over to our table with a dessert plate in her hands. Obviously, seeing that, I'm flustered. Don't ask me. Hey, Natalie, I can see you're stressed. Do you need anything? All she did the whole day was cook an appetizer, set a few plates, and care for my brother, who drank too much. Meanwhile, I've been cooking, cleaning, and setting up with my mother since morning. My brother's always late, and she doesn't encourage him to speed up or anything. She eats the dessert I spent so much time cooking and doesn't say, Nat, these pastries are amazing. So I said, hey, it must be easy being a guest 3 years into knowing your family. Immediately, my brother came in intoxicated, trying to tell me off. I explained why I was upset at her for being unhelpful. Ellie rudely said, what are you talking about? I can't enjoy a holiday? Then I told her, you can enjoy it, but at least act like a family member. She walked away from me and I snapped and said, you know what? From what Owen told me, I bet this was much better than holidays with your family. You should go back to their trailer park next year and you can lay around whenever. She doesn't actually live in a trailer. If she did, I feel like that would be rude. I just said that because I had a rough night and she rubbed me the wrong way. I implied that she was trashy just because of her upbringing. She spent every holiday with us, as her family is a complete mess and she hasn't spoken to them in years. She's like the third generation to grow up without a father. The woman who raised her is living off Social Security and poverty in old age, and just a lot more. I must have hit a sore spot. My brother had a long conversation with me the next day. I haven't really spoken to them. I tried to apologize, but I just don't know what else I can do to make this right. So, your husband wasn't helping because he was too busy getting intoxicated, and your brother also wasn't helping as he was too busy getting intoxicated, but you decided to take it out on only Ellie? There was no need to bring her family into it, so yeah, you are the idiot. I love the comment that her brother's always late, and the sister-in-law does nothing to speed him up. He's a grown darn man. How is it her fault her husband takes his sweet time getting ready? It was clear that sister-in-law was the scapegoat in all of this. OP doesn't hold any of the men in her life accountable for anything. Sister-in-law did the mature thing and walked away from OP's tirade, and OP still felt the need to scream out insults. Why do only the women in your family do any work? Why aren't you upset at the men who didn't pull their weight? Why should Ellie do more or give you more credit than your husband and brother? If you're bitter that you aren't getting support, did you ask the men for any assistance? Or sit and seethe and get passive-aggressive and then act like Ellie was the one with no manners rather than yourself? Doesn't sound like your mother raised you with any manners, so you're in no position to cast aspersions on other people. Me, female 31, and my fiancé, male 35, are getting married. His brother, 41, and his bro's wife, 34, are due to have a baby any day. The kid will be 7 or 8 months old by the time we get married. We live an hour away from my in-laws, bro, sis, mother, and father. The wedding will be 45 hours away for us all. 2 months before telling us they were expecting, we had a conversation where, in very clear terms, they told us children are not in our immediate future. At the time, they were living with her parents. She's an only child, and he had switched jobs. So you can imagine we were happy, but also confused, as they went from, no kids, we aren't ready, to, we're cooking up a kid. This baby is a complete shock and has become the sole priority for my in-laws in a way that's become hurtful. We are having a child-free wedding. The only exception we've made to this is my future nephew. My fiancé asked his brother to be his best man. My sister-in-law is not involved in any part of the day except to be my brother-in-law's +1. My mother-in-law initially said she would plan my bridal shower with my mom. She casually mentioned to me one day that she didn't have the bandwidth to host my bridal shower, as she would be helping with childcare for sister-in-law. I don't understand how the two are related, but my mom will plan an excellent bridal shower without my mother-in-law. I pushed my wedding dress shopping date back because my mother-in-law didn't want to spend 2 weekends traveling for dress shopping and a baby shower. My fiancé expected that his brother would plan a bachelor party. Up until recently, the plan was to take an international trip, but now that he'll be a father, he won't travel far. My fiancé is unhappy about this and has argued that some of the domestic destinations they're selecting are further away than some international places. Now that the baby is due to be here any day, my brother-in-law has preemptively requested that we give them the bridal suite, the space on site at the venue where we can get ready, refresh, and relax, access to care for the baby. We were both upset. I'm okay with having their child at my wedding because I know how attached parents can be. Still, I'm not okay with making accommodation for a child who just as easily could not be at my wedding. My sister-in-law is an only child, so we offered to invite her parents, understanding that they would stay at the Airbnb and take care of the baby. They didn't like this option, even though the Airbnb is booked. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. It's around the corner from the venue. We offered them a ceremony-only option so they could leave during the cocktail hour. They didn't like this option. It's clear that the priorities of my fiancé's family have become this child. I don't want to be resentful of this baby or my sister-in-law. Yet before we finalized our menu, we're being asked how to make our wedding comfortable for a baby that we didn't expect would be there. Am I the idiot for saying no? You cannot use the amenities provided to us as bride and groom to give your kids some milk and a nap. Not the idiot. If it gets to be too much, you can always tell your sister-in-law that maybe they shouldn't bring the child. Prepare for a crap storm, weather it out, and when it's all done, you'll either find your sister-in-law and maybe your mother-in-law will boycott your wedding, or they'll be grateful that you're willing to relent and allow them to bring the child at all. Remember, it's not your mom and sister. It's your soon-to-be husbands. Let him worry about their relationship. You worry about your boundaries and not letting his family walk all over you. Stop discussing it with them. You've given them the options. If they don't like them, they can find options or stay home. It's not your job to make accommodations for their baby. They were comfortable communicating their boundaries, and so should your fiancé. If there's a blowback, then just say, sorry you feel that way, but the answer is still no, and then repeat. Plus, ensure you inform the hotel and wedding coordinator that no one has permission to enter that room. Everyone's the idiot here. They can ask. It's not like you're the Pope and can't be bothered by the masses, though I see nothing wrong with letting them use the space with the fiancé, seeing that they are his family. But your whole attitude is coming off as, it's my day. Why do you care about a baby? It doesn't matter if the baby wasn't planned. It's coming, and yes, the soon-to-be in-laws will care more about that than your wedding. I see your future brother-in-law dropping out of the wedding if you or your fiancé push this too far. While this may be something you're okay with in the short term, it will affect the rest of your lives with this family. I have 2 sons, Robbie teen and Cameron pre-tween. Robbie had an awards banquet for his team. The entire family went. Every year they have a raffle with various prizes. I bought both of my sons a roll of tickets each and told them to put in for whatever. Cameron really wanted a Lego kit and a remote control car, so we put in basically all his tickets for those. There was another boy there, probably a little younger than Cameron, who was running around and saying that he would win the remote control car. Everyone would just smile and say, we'll see. It's time for the raffle. Cameron won the Lego kit. A few draws later, and he also wins the remote control car. When the other little boy's parents explained to their son he didn't win, he broke down in a huge tantrum where he was screaming and crying. His dad had to carry him out because he was causing a disturbance. We were sitting with 2 other families at our table, and one told Cameron he should give the car to the little boy. Cameron said no. They looked at me for backup, and I said it's his choice. I changed the subject. The little boy did return. He came by our table a couple of times but didn't say anything. He just stared at the car, which I felt was fine. Later, a friend said a few others felt Cameron should have given the little boy the car, as he had already won something. I said that this is just how raffles work, and it's a good lesson for kids. There are times my sons haven't won anything from raffles or similar events. They learned young that it's all up to luck. Keep in mind that I never heard from this child's parents. I know the mom in passing, as our older sons have hung out a couple of times, but not that well. My husband wonders if we should have just encouraged Cameron to give it away. Am I the idiot for saying no? Not the idiot. A child having a tantrum about something not going their way is not your problem to solve. It's absolutely ridiculous that other families made such comments. You should have told them that they were welcome to buy the kid something if they felt so strongly about vocalizing their opinion on it. Your kid got lucky. It would make no sense to punish him for it. If your child had a tantrum, would you expect others to give him things because of it? Seriously, if this was my kid, I'd be so angry if the other parents offered up their car. Like, kids have tantrums. Lord knows mine does. But I don't give in to them. The most irritating thing as a parent is when you're holding a boundary and some idiot busybody tries to give the kid the thing anyway. Like, moron, do you really think I don't have a quarter for the vending machines? I'm trying to teach her she doesn't get a thing every time we leave the house, especially not if she's being a pill. See, the mindset of all those families that suggested you give the child a gift to stop them from continuing a tantrum is exactly how entitled children are made. Honestly, I'm glad you stuck up for your son. I hope he enjoys his car and Lego. My wife and I just welcomed our first and likely only child at Christmas time. My mother-in-law came to stay with us and help. She was not helpful at all. She constantly disagreed with how we're doing things. She did nothing around the house except help with the baby, so my wife did a bunch of housework instead of relaxing. I would get home to an exhausted wife and her mom, who fought me for time with my kid. I'd make dinner for the three of us and do what I could to get stuff done around the house before passing out and starting over the next day. I tried talking to my wife about it, but she won't stand up to her mom. I tried talking to her mom, and she said she's not here to be our maid. She's only here to help with the baby. I got sick of it. I booked her a ticket home. 3 days before the flight, I thanked her for all her help and told her we would take care of things from here on out. She's angry. She says that I'm ungrateful for everything she's doing for us and that she took time off work to help. She started crying about it on social media. Some of her friends and family were joining in, saying I was unappreciative. She drives older adults around to appointments. She makes about $2,000 a month. It's not a full-time job. So I gave her $3,000 and said that we appreciate that she lost wages by helping, so that should cover it. I commented on all her posts that she'd been paid for her time and thanked everyone who reminded me that she had lost money to help us. She's back home now and whining that she can't see her grandbaby every day. My wife thanked me for handling it, but some people now say I was heartless for making it all about money. I can't win, but I don't think I'm the idiot like my mother-in-law is saying. Not the idiot. If she's there to help, then she's there to help, not just hold the baby and make more work for you guys. My wife thanked me for handling it. This tells you all you need to know. Her opinion is the only one that matters. You did good. Now enjoy this time with your wife and new baby. Congratulations. Exactly. If you're staying with someone who just had a baby, the help should be cooking, cleaning, doing the laundry, and maybe watching the baby so the mom can take a nap or shower. But your primary focus should be taking care of the mother so she can take care of the baby. Your mother-in-law is an idiot. Good job, Dad.